So this weekend we had our competition at the rink, and a coach came up to me who has seen my videos, which is lovely. She said to me, "You look just like your videos." Well, 'cause see, this doesn't have a filter, but neither does this. Welcome to our competition.
And this is what we do to our skate director. This is what... Oh, you guys stink.
Hello, good skating people. Today we are going to talk about how to center spin. I'm going to go over my pretty simple technique on this, and that way you can master it and do it every time. Let's go to the rink. So in our quest to talk about having good spinach, you need to make sure that skaters understand how to create rotation, how to stop rotation, because that is all we're doing in skating, right? Get in a position. Are you creating rotation or are you stopping rotation? So we're going to talk about how to create rotation and the forces that are on your body when you're doing a spin. It's a lot. A lot of skaters spin really fast. There's like G forces on their body. And if you expect them to land their jumps, they have to also be able to control their spins. So we need to talk about physics. Let's do some quick chalk talk, shall we? I'm also going to do some chalk talk at the rink for you. So let's talk about the difference between a pretty three-turn and an ugly three-turn. I want you to know what I'm talking about when I say these things. So as we've talked about in some of our turn videos, a three-turn looks like this. And hopefully, I call it shoulders, the neck, and the head of the turn. Hopefully the shoulders of the turn are equal, right? They should be the same going in as coming out. It should be a nice pretty three-turn, and it should have carriage across the ice. When we're spinning, we don't want to be going across the ice. We want to stay in one spot, meaning centering, which means you need to have, as Gus Lissy calls it, arrested forward motion. So at some point, you are gliding forward, and you have to stop gliding forward and stay in one place. Let me explain. We're gliding into the spin. You do a three-turn, the first half of your three-turn. You hit your toe pick, your blade turns, and when you come down, the second half of the three-turn is going to be what I say ugly. It's smaller than the first half. So it's deeper coming in, I say deep and longer, and tighter coming out. Does that make sense? So they should not be equal on both sides. If I draw it really big, and you'll see it on the ice as well, I did some footage on the ice, is like this, and then like that. Ideally, I like to see them loop back around and touch their original edge. That really gets it centered. Some coaches teach that you do a three-turn and spin next to. That's fine too. I do think you might end up getting a pretty three-turn, which is what you don't want, but you can see what works for you. All right, so we're in this blue area so you can see the tracing. Olivia's going to demonstrate a pretty three-turn and a traveling spin. Okay, good. So there you can see the pretty three-turn, then glide, and then the spin, which is loops instead of circles. Okay, so just remember when you're doing your spins, you start, here's the back inside edge, step forward. If you do a nice pretty three-turn, three-turns go across the ice, then you're gonna travel. Instead, you want an ugly three-turn. You wanna start here, facing this way, curve until you're facing that way again, hit your toe. You want an ugly three-turn. You don't want each side to be even. You want them to be uneven, because this has to come around and then you'll be centered. All right, so now she's going to demonstrate an ugly three-turn, which makes a better spin. So here's her edge, the ugly three-turn, and then you see there are more circles rather than loops. I think in order to be a good skater and a good coach, you have to experiment a little bit to see what works for you. I traditionally teach the left arm in front, right arm back, and I want the right arm and right leg to come around together after the skater hits their toe, and then it's almost like whiplash, like it flies around, right? It makes the spin have a lot of force. You may have skaters that can't control that. You may have to have them start with their right arm in front already pre-rotated and then snap the right arm back. That works too. You have to see what works for you and for your skaters. As the skaters advance, they tend to forget about their arms because their body can get into spins fairly easily and they're stronger so they can control the force. But when starting out, you really have to make the skaters have a clear understanding as to where their bodies should be when they're entering the spin, and then when they start the hook, where they should be, and so on. So give them assignments. And then as I work with more advanced skaters, they tend to forget those basics, so we refresh it, and their spins end up getting stronger. All right, so let's do some spin hieroglyphics, shall we? So basically, as you're going into a spin, I like to see this bent knee. You're leaning slightly forward. That free leg is extended. The arm is in front, arm in back. And I even stress looking over your shoulder, which is the one time you do want them looking over their shoulder versus jumps. You want the head to go last on spins. You want a strong left arm. You can also do it with the right arm. And you want them looking like a dog chasing their tail. And that's going to whip them into the spin, and the right side is going to whiplash around their body. So it's kind of a cool effect. So this is position one as you're entering the spin. I keep it pretty simple. I want them to understand where they should be. Position two, let's say it's a scratch spin. I want them very open. Now, if you're going for rotations, you want to pull in one body part at a time. If you're going for speed, you want to pull everything in together. So if you're looking at this from the side, like these, you want to imagine that there is George, like a big teddy bear, and you're squeezing him with your arms and your legs at the same time, pulling it in. Okay, that's one of the forces on your body. Now, if you want to make the spin last longer, like for a compulsory program, what I recommend is you pull in one body part at a time. So I'm going to pull the leg in first and keep it really high. Then I'm going to pull the arms in to here, up high. Then I'm going to push the foot down and the arms down or up above your head at the same time. And that's going to finish it off really fast. And hopefully you close it up so there's no space in between your thighs or your legs or your ankles, and you squeeze as tight as you can. Now that one's a snot flyer. That's a good spin. So when you see a spin in slow motion, it's way easier to break it down. So here is that first position I was talking about, left arm in front, the right arm, right leg come around together after she hits her toe, and then she ends up hopefully on the inside edge. She's a little far on her toe here. I'll show you another version. All right, so this is an even better close-up of the blade. I'm on the middle back part of my blade. I keep my knee down as I hit my toe. Then the leg comes around, and now I'm hopefully traveling on back inside circles. If you see, my blade is not staying in one place. It's moving in a little circle, and that is going to make your spin centered even more once you start pulling in. So you want to feel that back inside circle first, then pull in. All right, so it's taken a couple tries to get a spin right this morning, so maybe I should follow my own advice and stay down in my knee longer before I start the spin. Good Lord. I mean, I still can't see straight, but that's all right. Mom's done now. All right, let's talk about why there are two marks on the ice. Did anybody else see that? Rather than one line where you're just on an edge, right? You're on either edge. You are seeing two lines on the ice every time you spin. Why? I will pause now for you to think about it. Okay, that's all you get. Now, this is why. It's because once you hook the spin, you're going on the middle back. Sorry for that. They're kind of dusty. You're on the middle back part of your blade as you're gliding into the spin because you're going forward, middle back, right? You hit your toe pick as you hook the spin, and then you come back down, but you don't come back down all the way. This bottom toe pick, that doesn't exist on my blades anymore, but this bottom toe pick hits the ice at the same time as the ball of the foot. So you're actually spinning on both of these parts right here. This should anchor the spin. You'll see a lot of skaters like lean back or fall back. It's because they're not anchoring the spin and making sure that they are dragging that bottom toe pick, especially on backspins. You'll see it a lot. You want that bottom toe pick dragging ever so slightly to help anchor the spin. I hope at the very least this has been educational, if not a little entertaining. If you would like more information or content, you can certainly email me at haveaniceday.cf@aol.com. I have heard from several of you. I'm very excited to hear from folks, and let me know if you have any questions or comments. Please make sure you give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and make sure you have an ice day.